My name is Deborah W. O'Neill. I'm 33 years old, and the night my boyfriend tried to test my loyalty was the night he accidentally exposed his own. I work as a financial analyst for a mid-sized investment firm, corporate forecasting, risk modeling, pattern recognition. I like numbers because they either add up or they don't. I don't do drama. I don't stage reactions. I assume adults mean what they say. My boyfriend Kyle is 29. We've been together a little over 2 years. We don't live together, but we rotate between my apartment and his condo. Holidays with both families. Joint vacation plans. On paper, solid. Kyle thrives on emotional stimulation. Group chats that never stop buzzing. Social media relationship advice. Know your worth posts every other day. His friend circle, especially Melissa and Jenna, are big on testing partners. Loyalty tests. Fake scenarios. Manufactured drama to measure reaction intensity. I always thought it was immature but harmless. Noise around the edges. 3 months ago, a woman named Erin started appearing in conversation more often. She worked in Kyle's marketing department. According to him, harmless. Funny, confident, slightly full of herself. He mentioned her frequently, not romantically, just enough to register. I don't get jealous easily. I operate on patterns. When something shifts, I log it. His texting increased. Phone face down more often. Random late brainstorm sessions. Gym nights that conveniently aligned with her schedule. Nothing concrete, just small deviations from baseline. I didn't accuse, I didn't confront, I observed. Last Friday, Kyle texted around 6 p.m. Can we talk tonight? No emojis, serious tone. That alone was unusual. When I pulled into his complex, I noticed 2 cars parked down the street. Not in his lot. Down the street. That was my first clue. He opened the door already teary-eyed. Not crying, prepped. The kind of face you make when you've rehearsed a speech in the mirror. We sat on the couch. It's over, he said. I just don't feel the same anymore. There was a pause, a long one. He was waiting for something specific. Begging, shock, collapse. Instead, I felt calm. The cars down the street, the performance energy, the way he kept glancing toward the blinds like someone might be watching. This wasn't real. It was theater. So I decided to change the ending. I nodded once. Finally, I said. Now I can stop pretending I don't know about you and Erin. His face didn't just change. It glitched. For 3 full seconds, Kyle stared at me like his brain lost connection. Then he blinked rapidly. What are you talking about? And that's when I knew 2 things. 1, this was absolutely a setup. 2, he did not expect to be on defense. I leaned back into the couch cushions like we were discussing dinner plans. You know exactly what I'm talking about, I said calmly. I'm honestly relieved you finally said it. Relieved, he repeated. Yeah, saves me the awkward conversation. His composure cracked. What conversation? Why are you acting like this? Because I was tired of pretending I didn't notice the Erin situation. His whole body stiffened. Not outrage. Recognition. From outside I heard movement. A shadow near the blinds. Kyle stood abruptly. There is no situation with Erin, he snapped. You're being paranoid. Paranoid means guessing, I replied. I'm not guessing. Silence. Then he did something interesting. Instead of asking what I supposedly knew, he asked, Who told you that? That told me everything. Nobody, I said. I have eyes. The front door handle rattled, and suddenly the performance collapsed. Melissa burst in first, Jenna right behind her, both looking like kids who knocked over a display in a store. Oh, what is happening? Melissa demanded. I stood slowly. I think you tell me, I said. You wanted a show, right? Kyle's face flushed red. They were just here to support me, he said quickly. This wasn't a test. I glanced toward the parked cars. Support you in breaking up with me, with witnesses hiding outside. Silence. Melissa folded her arms. It was just to see how much you cared. There it was. A test. I nodded once. So you pretended to break up with me to measure my reaction. Kyle finally exploded. You were supposed to fight for me. That's when I realized this wasn't immaturity. It was entitlement. And now all 3 of them were staring at me, waiting for damage control. Instead, I said the one thing none of them were prepared for. I wasn't pretending about Erin. This time there was no acting in his reaction. Kyle's lips parted like he was about to deny it, but nothing came out fast enough. His eyes flicked to Melissa, then to Jenna, then back to me, like he was trying to calculate which lie would hold. What are you implying? He asked finally, but the bite in his voice sounded forced. I'm not implying anything, I said. I'm saying I noticed. Melissa scoffed. Noticed what? Patterns, I replied, still calm. 3 months ago, Erin barely existed. Then suddenly she's in every story, every joke, every complaint, Late meetings that never used to happen. Phone face down. New password. Gym sessions on nights you used to spend with me. Kyle snapped. Oh my God, you sound insane. Maybe, I said evenly. But insane people don't usually stay calm during a breakup ambush with an audience hiding outside. That landed. Jenna's face tightened. Melissa's confidence wavered for the first time. Even if he talks to her, Melissa tried, that doesn't mean anything happened. I shrugged. I didn't say something happened. I said I'm done pretending I didn't see it. Kyle folded his arms. So what? You think I'm cheating? That's the interesting part, I said. I didn't until tonight. Silence. Because if this had truly been just a dumb loyalty test, he would have looked offended, confused, furious that I'd even suggest it. Instead, the first thing out of his mouth had been, "Who told you?" Not, "How could you think that?" His breathing got shallow. Melissa spoke slowly now, like she was tasting the words. Emotionally cheating, she said, almost to herself. Kyle shot her a look that said, "Stop talking." I watched that exchange carefully. Interesting choice of words, I said quietly. I never use the word cheating. Kyle's jaw clenched. You just did. And you did first, I replied. That's the difference. The room went still. Even the air felt heavy, like the house had turned into a courtroom. I picked up my keys from the coffee table. Look, I said, you wanted a reaction. Here it is. Kyle's eyes widened. So that's it. You're just walking away. I looked at him carefully. You staged a breakup to see if I'd beg. You had witnesses hiding outside like this was a reality show, and in the middle of it, you accidentally revealed there's more going on with Erin than you're admitting. There's nothing going on, he snapped, but it sounded thinner now. Maybe, I said. Maybe not, but here's what I know. I don't fight for garbage. That word hit the room like a dropped plate. Kyle recoiled. Garbage, excuse me. If someone thinks so little of me that they need to test me instead of talk to me, that's garbage behavior, I said. If someone wants to manufacture drama for entertainment, that's garbage behavior. If someone is entertaining another person while keeping me as the safe option, that's garbage behavior. Melissa started to protest, but I held up a hand. You don't get to be shocked when someone refuses to compete in a game you rigged. Kyle's eyes went glossy, not from heartbreak, from ego, from being embarrassed in front of his friends. You're overreacting, he said. It was just a test. Exactly, I replied. And I'm not auditioning for the role of desperate girlfriend. I walked toward the door. Behind me, he said, if you leave right now, we're done. I stopped, turned slightly, and met his eyes. You already said it was over. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. Next time you want to test someone, I added, make sure you're not the one being graded. Then I walked out. No slam, no sprint, no dramatic chase down the driveway, just the sound of whispering behind me as the door closed. The second I got into my car, my phone lit up. Text before I even started the engine. Are you seriously leaving like that? This is insane. 3 missed calls. I didn't answer. I drove. Halfway home, the tone shifted. You embarrassed me in front of my friends. You made me look stupid. This was supposed to show you care. That part made me laugh once, short and sharp. Show I care by begging for someone who theatrically dumped me. When I got home, I didn't pace. I didn't draft a long message. I opened my phone and blocked his number. Then I blocked him on everything else. Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, even LinkedIn, because I know how people like this operate when they feel cornered. It wasn't petty. It was procedural. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. Unknown number. Voicemail. Kyle's voice. Why are you blocking me? That's so immature. We need to talk. No, we don't. I deleted it. Another unknown number called. Melissa. You're blowing this out of proportion, she said the second I answered. You staged a breakup to test me, I replied. That's already out of proportion. It was just to see if you'd fight. I'm not fighting for someone who thinks I'm disposable, she huffed. Kyle is crying. I'm sure he is, I said. I care enough to remove myself from nonsense. Then I hung up and blocked her too. By midnight, 4 different unknown numbers tried calling. I blocked every single one. The next morning, I woke up to silence. And for the first time in weeks, I felt clarity. Then around noon, I got a message request on Instagram. Not from Kyle, from Erin. No profile picture, just a name, Erin M. The message was short. Hey, I think we need to clear something up. My stomach didn't drop. It settled. Because suddenly, the test didn't feel like a test anymore. It felt like a cover. I accepted the request and typed back 2 words. Clear what? The typing bubble appeared almost immediately. Kayla told me what happened last night. I had no idea he was planning that test. I read it twice. Not planning that test. Interesting wording. So you were involved in something else? I typed. There was a pause. The bubble disappeared, came back. Look, I don't want drama, but he's been telling me for weeks that you two were basically over. There it was. Basically over. His words, I replied. Yes. My jaw tightened, but my hands didn't shake. They rarely do. He said you were distant, that you weren't serious about the future, that he felt single in the relationship. I actually laughed out loud. 2 weeks ago, we were discussing vacation properties for next spring. He also said you weren't ready to commit long term, she added. He staged a breakup rehearsal, I wrote back. That's not someone unsure about commitment. That's someone testing exits. There was a longer pause this time. Then she wrote something that settled everything. Nothing physical happened except one kiss. I pulled back. I told him he needed to figure his situation out. I stared at the screen. Except one kiss. When someone volunteers, nothing physical happened except it means something absolutely happened. So he told you we were over, I replied, and you kissed him. He initiated it, she shot back quickly. I didn't know it was serious. That detail mattered less than she thought. You don't owe me loyalty, I typed. He did. The bubble flickered again. I didn't know about the test. I didn't know he was going to do that. I thought he was already leaving. There it was. Projection. He wasn't testing my loyalty. He was testing whether he could leave cleanly. Thanks for the honesty, I wrote. And then I blocked her too. Not because I was furious, because I don't keep loose ends. I had just set my phone down when there was a knock at my door. Slow, measured, not frantic. I already knew who it was. I didn't rush. If you've ever dealt with someone who thrives on emotional spectacle, you know the worst thing you can do is match their urgency. The knock came again. I opened the door. Kyle stood there. No friends, no audience, no tears, hair styled, face composed. Can we talk? He asked. You already did, I replied. He stepped forward slightly like he expected to be invited in. You blocked me. Yes. That's childish. No, what's childish is staging a fake breakup with spectators. His jaw tightened. I came here to fix this. There's nothing to fix. He exhaled sharply. You're really going to throw away 2 years over one mistake. One mistake, I repeated. The test was stupid. Fine, I admit that. Melissa hyped it up. I got caught up in it. And Erin? His posture shifted. He told you something, didn't he? He told me enough. He looked away for half a second. That half second was louder than any confession. It was just a kiss, he said quickly. It didn't mean anything. It meant you crossed a line. You've been distant, he shot back. You stopped fighting for us. I didn't stage a breakup with backup witnesses. He swallowed hard. I was scared. Of what? That you wouldn't choose me. That almost landed. Almost. You don't test someone to see if they'll choose you, I said. You communicate. You don't understand how my friends think. I don't date your friends. That shut that down. He tried softer. We can fix this. I'll cut her off. I'll block her. I'll do whatever you need. That right there told me everything. Reactive loyalty, not integrity. I don't want reactive loyalty, I said. I want proactive boundaries. He blinked like he didn't understand the language. What does that even mean? It means I shouldn't have to threaten leaving for you to behave. Silence. Are you really this cold? He asked quietly. No, I replied. I'm just done. He stepped closer. So that's it. You don't even care enough to argue. Arguing implies negotiation, I said. I'm not negotiating my standards. For the first time, he didn't have a comeback. You're making a mistake, he said. Maybe, I answered. But it won't be the kind that requires a loyalty test to uncover. He stood there waiting for a crack. There wasn't one. Eventually, he turned and walked down the hallway. No dramatic threats. No final insults. Just footsteps fading. I closed the door and locked it. That should have been the end. It wasn't. The next 3 days were quiet. Too quiet. No burner numbers. No long emotional paragraphs. No dramatic emails. For someone who thrived on spectacle, Kyle was suddenly restrained. That restraint made me more alert, not less. Monday morning, I was reviewing a quarterly projection at work when my assistant buzzed my office. There's someone here asking for you. Who? She hesitated. Kyle. Of course. Tell him I'm in a meeting. I did, she said carefully. He said he'll wait. I closed my laptop slowly and walked to the lobby. He was sitting upright in one of the leather chairs, composed again. Neutral expression. This wasn't emotional. This was strategic. You can't just show up here, I said quietly. You blocked every other option, he replied. That was intentional. He stood. We need closure. No, I said, you need reassurance. His jaw flexed. You think this is that simple? It is for me. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. You think one kiss means I don't love you. I think one kiss means you were willing to risk everything before we were even officially done. You pushed me away. I didn't stage a breakup with backup witnesses. He swallowed. We can fix this. You keep saying that, I replied, like it's a button. I'll cut her off. You should have done that without being told. I was confused. You were curious, I corrected. That landed. A couple of coworkers glanced over discreetly. He tried again, softer this time. I just wanted to know you'd fight for me. And I wanted to know you wouldn't make me compete. We stood there, both realizing we were operating on completely different value systems. Were you already checked out? He asked finally. No, I said honestly. I was paying attention. He let out a slow breath. I didn't think you'd actually walk. That's usually the problem, I replied. People get comfortable testing what they think won't leave. He studied my face, looking for hesitation. There's nothing left to say, I added. He nodded once, slow, almost defeated. Then this is it. Yes. He left the building without another word. That afternoon, my phone lit up again. Unknown number, I answered this time. Melissa. I didn't know about Erin, she said immediately. I didn't respond. We thought the test was harmless. Stupid, yeah, but harmless. He made it sound like you were emotionally distant. He made it sound like we were basically over to Erin, I replied calmly. She went quiet. He didn't tell us about the kiss, she admitted. That confirmed everything. So you found out after, I said. Yes. And you still think this is about me not fighting? She sighed. He thought you were safe, stable, predictable. Stable doesn't mean compliant, I said. He didn't think you'd actually leave. That's how leverage works, I replied. It assumes the other person won't exercise it. Melissa was silent for a long moment. She's spiraling, she said finally. I'm not. That was the difference. When I hung up, I didn't block her number. Not because I cared, because the story was already over. That evening, I opened my email. There it was. From Kyle. Subject line. I get it now. The message was controlled, measured. I let my friends get in my head. I kissed her because I wanted to feel wanted. I staged the breakup because I wanted proof you wouldn't leave. You leaving proved the opposite of what I expected. That was the most honest sentence in the entire message. Not remorse. Surprise. He miscalculated. At the bottom, he wrote, "You don't have to respond. I just needed you to know I understand." I sat there for a while. Then I archived the email. No reply. Then I created a filter so anything from that address would skip my inbox entirely. Closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. He wanted reassurance that he hadn't permanently broken something. I wasn't going to provide that. People who test loyalty assume safety. They assume you'll absorb it. He thought I was stable enough not to leave. He forgot stable also means consistent. My boundary didn't change just because he panicked. That was the final move. No dramatic speech. No last message. Just silence. After the email, there were no more surprise visits, no more unknown numbers, no more emotional essays sent from alternate accounts. The silence that followed wasn't tense, it was structural, like something had finally snapped into alignment. A week later, a mutual friend named Mark reached out. We used to do double dinners with him and his wife every few months. He texted asking if I had a minute to talk. I called him back that evening. He hesitated before getting to the point. Said he had drinks with Kyle the night before. Kyle had been venting, said he still didn't understand how things escalated so fast, that he thought I'd cool off and come back like people usually do after a fight. Usually. That word mattered. People usually threaten. They usually escalate emotionally. They usually test boundaries and then negotiate them back down. I didn't escalate, I told Mark calmly. I exited. Mark exhaled. He didn't think you'd take it literally. I did, I said. He admitted something else. Kyle hadn't told the full story to their friend group. He framed it as a harmless loyalty test gone wrong. He left out the kiss until Erin confronted him privately. That didn't surprise me. Do you want me to tell him anything? Mark asked. No, I said. Anything that needed to be said was already said. And that was the truth. Because here's what most people misunderstand about endings like this. It wasn't about one kiss. It wasn't even about the staged breakup. It was about the operating system underneath it. You don't audition replacements while still in a relationship you respect. You don't stage exits to measure devotion. You don't keep someone as stability while sampling attention elsewhere. The kiss was a symptom. The test was a strategy. And both were rooted in the same assumption, that I wouldn't leave. Kyle thought I was stable, predictable, safe. He thought my personality type meant I would absorb disruption and then renegotiate terms. He forgot something. Stability isn't weakness. It's consistency. When a boundary is crossed, the response is not emotional chaos, it's structural correction. He wanted to know if I would fight. I did, by refusing to participate. A few weeks passed. Life normalized. I kept my routines. Work, gym, friends, quiet evenings, no adrenaline spikes, no emotional ambushes, just calm. One evening, I was sitting at my kitchen counter reviewing next quarter projections when I realized something small but important. I hadn't checked my phone for his name in days. There was no urge, no curiosity about whether he missed me, no fantasy about reconciliation, just absence. People assume that walking away like that is dramatic. It isn't. It's administrative. You close the file, you archive the email, you adjust the filters, you remove access. He thought the test would prove my loyalty. What it proved instead was his mindset. He wasn't measuring love. He was measuring control. And the moment control failed, everything built on it collapsed. A month later, Melissa sent one final message through Mark. He didn't think you'd grade him. I smiled when Mark told me that. I never said I was grading him. But that's exactly what happened. He staged a loyalty test and failed it. Not because he kissed someone, but because he needed to test at all. And that's the whole story.